Chapter 16, Stuff Gets Serious. The minion was caught hacking, so he lost the commands. Enough is enough. The amount of sidetracking that is happening is annoying me, said Big Daddy Sackboy. Sans Undertale appeared. Hoo, he said. Finally, someone with some common sense, said Big Daddy Sackboy. Well, anyway, it looks like this where the ghosts of everyone who died are. Does that mean Megatron is here? Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition, said the Spanish Inquisition. We are here to help you with your crusade. We've seen what he has and we are disgusted at his actions, said one of the Spanish Inquisition. Brave Sir Robin ran away when danger reared its ugly head. He bravely turned his tail. 50 floaty waving long-armed tiny toad men appear, which was led by Skeletor. Then Cicero stabbed one of the floaty things. 50 floaty waving long-armed tiny toad men appear and ate Cicero. While Cicero was in the belly of one tiny toad man, he used Bendwill on them. Now they obey Cicero's every command. How are you not dead? Said Batman. I have no idea, said Cicero. Cicero jumped out of the tiny toad man and petted it. A drone flew over the group and stopped, which had an IKEA logo on it. Suddenly a Barrett M82 came out of the base of the drone, and it was aimed at Batman. The drone shot, but before it hit its target, Big Daddy Sackboy jumped in the way of the bullet. Sackboy immediately fell to the ground in pain, because the bullet was traced with an anti-cotton candy liquid. Sackman, no! Screamed Batman as tears went down his cowl. No, this is also adding to my big sad, said Optimus. Painful it looks, said Yardo in a sad tone. It's all right guys, cough, I'll be seeing Bob the Builder soon, cough. In Valhalla, said Big Daddy Sackboy. His last words were, guacamole. Optimus punched the ground in anger and found sharply cut diamonds that resembled Gru's long, handsome, pointy nose. The rest of the group all got down on one knee to pay their respects. Cicero sadly chuckled in the background. This is very sad, said Yarda, shedding a tear. After a moment of silence, Miku raised her head and asked, now what? Batman, with tears still pouring down his mask, replied to Miku, Tommy will pay for what he has done, killing my best friend from my childhood, my only friend. Sack Thing helped me in the worst of times. Well, I was asking for a plan, but okay, that will do, said Miku. Batman picked up Sackboy's Leviathan axe and put it on his back. Chapter 17, The Plan. First we must enlist help of others, mainly people who also want revenge on Tommy. Then we get our best gear and equipment, and at dawn we charge the main base of operations, said Batman. Heroically. Alright, just before we go ahead with the plan, can I ask something? Said JJJ. Yeah, replied Batman. Did he have any family? Asked JJJ. Yeah, us, said Captain America Batman. Alright, where do we start first? Questioned Miku. There's a mountain right next the IKEA. I know a few guys from back in the day who live there. They should help, answered Batman. Plan it sounds like, said Yarda. Who are they to be exact? Said Optimus. Oh, you'll know when you see them, replied Batman. That's not answering the question, said Optimus. I know, said Batman. All right, what about the equipment? Said Miku. There's a dwarf who also lives. We will build our gear. Trust me, the quality of his work is impeccable. He used to make my stuff, said Batman. All right, let's go, said JJJ. The group traveled to the mountain in the style of a Rocky montage. They arrived at the mountain top where Cicero was standing there smugly while flipping a coin. What took you so long? Said Cicero with a grin on his face. My question is, how did you get here before us? Shouted JJJ. Cicero simply responded, I fast-traveled here, duh. While Cicero and JJJ argued over Joe's pizza, Batman explained their plan in a bit more detail, and then he said the entrance is somewhere over here, pointing to an absurdly large boulder. Well, that's an absurdly large pizza, said Snap in awe. What? Optimus said, breaking out of thought. You speak English, yes? You heard me, Snap sneered. That's a rock, not a pizza. SHHHHH. Embrace the pizza rock. Snap jumped up onto the rock, immediately inspecting the substance. Definitely not pepperoni, he said, rubbing his chin. Optimus sighed and shook his head, walking over and leaning down to conversate with the rest of the group. I am assuming the people we're looking for are hidden behind the rock? Said Miku, examining the rock closely. Optimus, you're stronger than us, you can move this, right? Kill them all, said a random voice. The group glanced around frantically, looking for the source of the voice. Optimus, now would be nice. Batman ordered. All of them, said the strange voice. Would love to, but this thing won't budge, Optimus said, panicking slightly. Chapter 18, In the Cave. Oh bother, let me do it, Winnie the Pooh said, picking the rock up with his bare hands. Suddenly an arrow was shot straight in Winnie the Pooh's head. Win threw the boulder aside. Go, he gasped, collapsing. Another one was shot, killing him. The rest of the group rushed into the cold, damp cave. Optimus managed to push the boulder into place again, concealing the entrance, and was then the only exit. Optimus slid down the boulder, panting after running about 4 meters. We don't have time to stop now, said Snap, who had jumped onto Optimus's shoulder. An arrow slid through a crack. It had a note on saying 1. Miku picked up the note. 1. 1 what? Miku said. Holly, you're the smart one. Any ideas? Well, one person got killed, so naturally it would say 1, said Holly. What kind of sadistic person would do this? Miku said. I can think of a few, said Optimus. An assassin, said Cicero. Probably something like that. Come on, this tunnel goes down. Our best bet is to head down that way and hope we find something, said JJJ. Cicero looked at the arrow for a moment. This is an arrow from the Dark Brotherhood. I use them all the time. But you use the dag. Optimus, don't question it. The important thing is that we know now who killed Winnie the Pooh, Miku said. By the way, Snap said, has anyone noticed that our vocabulary and descriptions expanding exponentially since the start of the adventure? What are you talking about? JJJ said. I don't know, it just kinda struck me, Snap responded. He turned directly to the camera and winked. What camera? Said Cicero. Don't worry about it. Optimus' side has always like this. There in the cave, said the strange voice. And that's our to go, said Batman. The group dashed down the slope, entering a small open space. So I guess we keep moving down, said Miku, surveying the area. Chapter 19, Deeper down the cave. The group tracked their way down the cavern's tunnels, following Batman's memory of the directions. Batman, are you sure you know where you're going? Asked Miku. Cicero shouted. No. Keep it down, Cicero, we don't know if your Dark Brotherhood friends are around the corner. Snap said from Optimus's shoulder. True, shouted Cicero. We will find you, said a group of people who resembled Liam Neeson. Okay, it's time to go, Miku said, already preparing to run. The group dashed, as well as the minion who was painting them, down the tunnel till they came to an opening. To a dead end. Suddenly the wall sunk into the ground, revealing a figure. Get in, it yelled. The group followed without so much as a second thought. The wall raised up behind them. That should hold them off for now, they said. They turned to Batman. "Nice to see you, Batman," they said, shaking his hand. "This way," the figure gestured down the tunnel. Miku turned to Optimus and shrugged. The group followed the figure down the dimly lit rocky corridor. The light from the torches barely illuminated the figure's features. "Who is this?" Miku whispered to Batman. "An old friend, the tank of the group." Batman responded pridefully, "I'm proud to say I fought against the Tommy forces alongside her. Her name's Chica." "Another person whose name begins with the letter C. Kill her," said Cicero, holding his dagger. "Cicero, no!" shouted Batman. Cicero was about to stab Chica, but Batman caught the knife mid-air and put him into a guillotine choke, putting him to sleep. "They went to Huoga, man, I'm telling you." "Excuse him, Chica. He's a bit strange." Then an arrow kills Snap with the letter saying to. "Snap!" Optimus yelled as Snap fell from his shoulder. "Finally, some good food," Cicero imagined in his head. Optimus clenched his fists and punched Cicero in the head. "If you think about it, we can now grit the path," said Holly. "Say one more thing like that and I'll crush you," said Optimus. Sir brave Cicero stealthily ran away when danger reared its ugly head. "I think it's best if we keep moving so we don't lose anyone," said Chica. "We'll just have to hope Cicero follows us," said Miku. "I would prefer him not to," said Optimus. Surprisingly, Cicero left a note saying, "I'm telling my father about this." "Good," said the strange voice. "Let's keep moving," Batman said, turning to face the others with his elbows. Chapter 20, The Invisible Aliens from Outer Space. As the others were trying to find a convincing title for the next chapter, the invisible aliens became allies with Tommy's forces, making the war even more troubling than it was before. "Does anyone want to go Nintendo Wii dancing?" asked Batman. "Yes," shouted Bear Grylls with a massive salmon on his head. "Are they always like this?" Chica said, looking up at Optimus. "Unfortunately, yes," Optimus sighed. "I used to be as laid back as them, but after Megatron died." "Cheer up, Op, that was like 6 chapters ago," said the ghost of Snap. "Well, at least you get a ghost," Optimus smiled. Snap hovered mid-air while they continued down the hall, till they came to an opening. The room was teeming with people and cameos that won't be mentioned for a while. The group looked around, glancing at the unfamiliar and familiar faces. "You recognize anyone?" Batman said, turning to face the group. "Well, yes," Miku said, stunned at the amount of people. "Oof," came a voice. The group looked to the side to see a small yellow man with green pants and a blue shirt. "Hey noob, what's good?" Batman said, high-fiving the short man. A man approached them. "They were made up of cubes, Batman," he said. "Steve," Batman replied. The two seemed like they were going to fight, but instead Steve gave Batman a hearty high-five and a pat on the back. "Where you been, man? It's been years," Steve said. "I was retiring, but turns out Tommy built his new capitalistic shack on top of my cave," Batman said, crossing his arms. "These lot found me. The skeleton man brought us to that old mansion down the path." Steve looked at Skeletor. "Nay," Skeletor said. "Well, you certainly met some weird people, Batman." Skeletor then disappeared in a puff of smoke. He then reappeared wearing magician clothes. "MGHHH, Skeletor's a magician now," said Skeletor, pulling a rabbit out of his hat. "Like I said, weird people," Steve said. Steve leaned against a desk nearby. "So what brings you back?" Chapter 21, Dwayne the Rabbit Johnson. "Where'd that desk come from?" said Skeletor. "It's a spooky ghost desk," said Ghost Snap, laying on his back while floating. "Hey, just because you're a ghost doesn't make everything else a ghost," said Miku. Snap ignored her and sat down on Optimus's shoulder. "Go make yourself comfortable. Talk to the others. We need to come up with a plan anyway." Batman said. Miku nodded. The others made their way around the base, unsure if anyone they actually knew was there. This is all very awkward, Snap said, narrowing his eyes at the passers-by. They couldn't see him, but he could see them. Snap watched as a tall green man walked past. "Brew," he said. "That's the guy from the sweet corn advertisement." Optimus looked over his shoulder. "The Green Giant?" Optimus said, glancing back at Snap. "That's the one," Snap said, snapping his fingers, causing chalk to fill the air. Suddenly all the ghost characters disappeared in a cloud of smoke. "Wait, why did Snap just vanish?" questioned Batman. Cicero was insanely laughing in the background. "What's so funny?" shouted Optimus. Cicero, while trying to control his laughter, said, "I casted a spell where all the ghosts would disappear. As you can see, it worked perfectly." Optimus started dropping mountains of haymakers onto Cicero's face until JJJ intervened. Chapter 22, The Police Strike Back. "Come out with your hands up, this is the police," said Grumman. Chuffman slipped him a 500. "Are you trying to bribe me?" said Gru, burning the 500. "No, I was trying to save your life," said Batman. Gru shot the Green Giant in the chest with a banana, killing him. Gru looked down too quickly and his nose went through his heart. Skeletor disappeared in a puff of smoke. "This is getting ridiculous," said Steve, drawing his diamond sword. "Oof," Roblox Noob said. His face practically flipped itself upside down. Is that how you frown?" Miku said, disgusted. "Oof," he confirmed. There was a rumbling noise as the floor vibrated. The group barely kept their balance. The door was flung off its hinges. Figures stood in the doorway. As the figures stepped into the light, Steve raised his hand, signaling the others to lower their weapons. "Was the entrance necessary, Freddy?" Steve said sternly. "Well, of course," said the figure. "It was Freddy Fazbear, Kirby, that one Transformer with the massive chin, Drake, Josh and the new Joker." "How many more of you are there?" Optimus sighed, lowering his blaster. Miku groaned. "I have a feeling the more of us there are, the more easy we are to spot." "Oh, don't worry, we shrink down to tiny size like Ant-Man," said Drake while holding a power saw. "Drake, where did you get this power saw?" said Josh. "I warped time and space just to get it," said Drake. Miku sighed and said, "But seriously, this is too many targets. Unless we split into teams, we are going to be too easy to spot." "All right, that's fair. I'll assemble all of you into 2 teams. Team A will consist of me, Chika, Miku, Steve, Roblox Guy and Yada. Team B will consist of Skeletor, JJJ, Freddy Fazbear, Optimus, Bear Grylls and Joker and who's Batman." "How did I get looped into this?" shouted Bear Grylls. "You're holding a bamboo stick that's as tall as a tree. I think you're pretty worthy to me," replied Batman. "Okay, makes complete sense," shouted Bear Grylls again.